because I'm not getting the counter. I think we're going. I think we are live. Welcome to the Fripp and Folly Outdoor Podcast, brought to you by Fripp and Folly, quality outdoor t-shirts for the outdoorsman, high quality long sleeve, short sleeve, cool patterns, everything for the outdoorsman, anything from crappie to duck hunting to you name it, they've got it for the outdoorsman. Today we're with a fun guest. We've got the old buddy Josh Gowan. He's with Destination Crappie, and he's a tournament angler, he's a guide, he's a YouTuber, he's a TV guy. I think you're about everything crappie, ain't you, Josh?
I think in order to make a living, you have to be everything crappie. Yeah, that's the only way you can do it for a living, is to do 15 different things.
Well, one of the things that Josh is into, this Destination Crappie, now this is something that you're going to be doing webcasts. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it was born out of necessity. We spent last year, we did 45,000 miles on the road. We went to 17 different states, just 25 lakes, a couple rivers, and we found that wherever we went, we were constantly Googling and searching for something. And we're pretty savvy Googlers, but still we spent a lot of time searching for everything from a restaurant in Batesville, Mississippi, to a public boat ramp on Lake Fork, Texas. A lot of those that are on the map, turns out they're not really public. And so on and so forth. It's a place to stay where you can plug your boat up.
There's my boy.
There's Buster. Look, if Buster's not here, the show's not real.
Buster, let me tell you, you always start the show, don't you, bub? Okay, go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
You're right. I expect Buster to roll in. I saw the last one. I know it's coming. All right.
Buster always comes in at the start of the show, don't you, bub? He said, my name is Buster Brown, and I'm the biggest man in the town. That's him right there. That's my boy. Okay, I'm sorry, Josh.
Buster's been neglected for a long time, really not had enough TV coverage, me and a lot of the outdoor community feel like. And so now he's taking it. He's taking it, right? There's nothing you can do. All right. But so anyhow, so we decided we were making this online magazine. We made online magazines for the American Crappie Trail. Crappie Now magazine is a big online magazine in crappie fishing. So we're like, man, why don't we just make one per area, one for each lake, and list every single thing on earth that a fisherman would need, have it all right there in the magazine, from fishing information to where every place to stay, and if you have boat plug-ins, and where every place to eat, and the places that are open late to eat, the little stuff that you need to know. And then at the end of it, we put an interactive boat ramp map, so that you can actually, if you're flipping through this magazine on your phone, you can click on a boat ramp, and it'll run through your GPS and take you there. Mm-hmm. And we had a big response from it. Everybody thought it was a good idea, and we got Lake Darbone done. That was the first one, and then we just finished Reelfoot. And then while we're doing this e-magazine, this guidebook, if you will, whatever you want to call it, I still don't have a solid. It's a tough description. I want it to be the Encyclopedia Britannica of fishing lakes once we're done. Here's this massive list, and here's everything you need to know wherever you go. But we're doing a web series, TV show form, online.
This stuff that you were doing with your write-ups and everything, where was all that at? Was that on social media, or was that in print, or where was all that? Or is all that?
No. It is on destinationcrappie.com. It is on the website. You go to destinationcrappie.com, you go over there and you click on your lake. You hit lakes, here comes the lakes, and you click on it, and there you have an e-magazine. So you can flip through it on your computer, you flip through it on your phone.
This is what you've been doing for how many years now?
Oh, in some capacity, I've been writing, videoing, chasing crappie, selling fishing poles. I started working for Louis Mansfield at Grizzly Jig. I don't know when exactly I started working. Maybe 2008, 2007, something like that. and started writing for their catalog, started writing for Wade's magazine, Crappie Angler, and fishing tournaments, and started videoing crappie trips on YouTube back in '09. And I've had my fingers in it. I just love it. I meet up with it. I love the industry. So this was something that we felt like, that we could do and scratch out a living and keep fishing and, keep traveling around and seeing new places and meeting new people. So it's had a good reception. We think it's going to work. But now the web series is like we're trying to essentially make a television show and just put it out online, but a little bit shorter, not the full 23 minutes or so, but 9 or 10 minute show, a little more reality based, a little bit more fun than just your standard fishing show. I don't know if you've ever seen any fishing shows, Scott. There's a few that's been out there. It's been on TV for a while.
You was almost about to dog me there for a minute. It was going to be shorter, so you act like maybe we old TV guys might have been a little long-winded or something on there. But you got to figure, back in the old days when people used to watch stuff on TV, you had to have at least a 30-minute episode, so that was actually 22 minutes of content. So
right.
Proceed there now that I know where you're going with it now. So just go ahead and proceed with your video webcast or whatever it's called.
Sure, the future.
The future.
Let me bestow the future.
Here we go, folks.
Hey.
Now here's what you're seeing right now. On one side of the screen is the past. The other side is the future.
However, I'm on my first ever podcast via Scott Turnage there.
Teaching something to the future.
You got out ahead of me on that one. You got out ahead of me on podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like. But no, that's the idea, man. That we have such a good time traveling, and crappie fishing people, man. They love to talk. I mean, they have a good time. And we have a good time everywhere that we go. So to try to showcase, something outside of course, the fishing is still the heartbeat of it, but try to showcase some of the fun that we have and the people and, some of the food we eat, whatever, but not where it looks so scripted like you have to show the place that you ate because you were made to do it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I call us old guys in the TV world used to call that Americana. Wherever you were or whatever, you would show where you but a lot of that stuff though, and people if they spend 8 hours on the water, there's another, I guess that'd be 16, 24 minus 8, 60, another 16 hours, they got to do something. So, if you got a Boyettes, you mentioned Real Food a little bit ago, or over to Blue Bank or something. I mean, you want to highlight a little something so when these people go to these destination crappie trips, then they have a place to eat or something. So that's good that you're doing that.
That's right. Yeah, we want to show them and that's what that's always there for we definitely want to show them the best places to go eat, some of our favorite places to stay. It's still business on one end. It's everybody has to play the game, but without a doubt, man, just to try to be as honest with it as we can possibly be, which is something you've done forever. I feel like you always did a good job with that, and to try to keep that spirit alive. Be honest with what we're doing, not try to oversell or overpump something, but still, try to have fun with it and be a little bit relaxed and maybe not abide by all the parameters that you would have to in a standard show.
Well, the internet's that's the Wild West right now. I mean, it's you can do anything, can you not? I mean, to a limit. I mean, you can do. We were always strapped. I mean, with the regulations of TV and what you could show, what you couldn't show. I mean, we had, my gosh, from each network you just get a something this thick with all the stipulations and everything, and so you have to run the straight and narrow. But now you still have to too, because you figure when you have sponsors involved in this, they have a reputation to uphold, and now you represent those companies, so you have to definitely have to kind of do all that. So So, I mean, I don't know nothing about this internet stuff and how this, other than maybe YouTube or something. How does this all work? I mean, you're going to shoot all this stuff, I know, and then you're going to edit it. I know all that part. So how do you promote this, and how do you do all this to get people over there to, Buster was running around, to get people over there to watch it? Because we had the TV guide.
Right. That's right. You know what, man? A lot of it is through social media. A lot of it is through Facebook, through Instagram, through Twitter. But having a solid YouTube base that I've been building for a long time, and putting out just a ton of really mediocre videos, but catching some fish, that helps a ton. And being able to strap a name onto a web series and make it consistent, and making it coming out regularly, and something that people can look toward, that's going to help that grow a lot in itself. And then the web series pushes people to the magazine pushes people to the web series. The whole thing is
it's all tied into one.
It all scratches each other's back, right? And it drives people to and it's beautiful. For the fisherman, it doesn't cost a thing. Here's all the information you need. Here it is. It's fun. It's well written.
And the thing about that, it's always there, correct? I mean, it's 24/7. And then after, it's not like with me, when I aired something on TV, you had to wait 3 months to get the rerun, and then after that, he gone. No more. But with you, it's always on there from here to eternity, I guess, is it not?
I guess, unless Google and YouTube goes under, and if that happens, man, we better have some firewood and some grains and whatnot.
That's the cool part of it. They don't have to just be strapped to a time. It's always there, So you.
That's right.
Man, I guess I was born too late or something,
I don't know. I wish
I'm trying to learn it so I can understand this stuff, but it sounds so cool. I mean, and this is just the tip of the iceberg right now, is it not?
Yeah. We're just jumping this thing up, and everybody I talk to that has any sort of influence or money, we've just got a lot of people offering to get in. You know what I mean? Wanting to get into it, which is something I've never experienced. But we're not. We're not. We're just keeping it small and simple. And I've gotten some good advice on just one thing at a time. And that's the beauty of this: one lake at a time. Concentrate on it hard. Because you have to get every single place that's around the lake, all of their amenities. Find out. You have to do some digging and put together some solid information, but just one at a time. But yeah, man, the sky is really the limit on where this thing could go.
And
the list of lakes is forever.
Well, you're not strapped to, okay, this week we got to do this and then air it whenever. You can start out at Grenada, go to Washington, go where other lakes or Pickwick or whatever else in your circle back home. You could do literally that stuff, hell, in a matter of a week and get all that in there.
You can
my
get
advice would be don't do that because that's what everybody expected. Sure.
Well, you can't like Washington will be simple. Grenada's a decent size, little town there. So to actually physically contact every single person that has a place to stay, every single person that has a place to eat, there's a grind in that, because at the end of the day, the way we make money off this whole deal is to sell ads, to get people locally involved in it. But you look at lakes like Lake Fork, Texas, we've got a month set aside just for Lake Fork, Texas, because that's a monster. And for us to contact, every single place there is to stay and find out, do you have a place to park a boat? Do you have outdoor plug-ins? That's one of the things, Some of them are going to take a long time. And some of them are going to be...
And I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm old, so I
You're
forget. Um, so now, what do you call these that you air 'em when they start watching them? What are they called?
Well, a web series,
Okay,
whatever. We like to call it a TV show, but
in this web series, then each one, you said you spend a month at Lake Fork because there's so much stuff. So each one,
right.
Will that highlight like a different place that you might have stayed or you might have eaten because you were on a different part of the lake and you were doing another application trying to catch fish, maybe in standing timber versus, suspended or whatever? Is that what you're going to do? Or
on the big ones, no. Ideally, the time that's spent is sitting behind a desk and behind a computer and on the phone, and then you go in and you're there for 4 or 5 days. But the idea is to have, every single thing is listed, everything is there, and all the information's there. And, the ones that we're going to highlight, we're going to find the best restaurants, which is what we already do everywhere we go. We travel all over and we love to, nothing more I like than to eat something new or drink something new or do something new and a new experience. And I mean, we all love fried fish, but we can get good fried fish in a whole lot of places, So I think you have a newer generation of people that want to try something different, And so we try to find unique things.
This is instant information. Am I right?
It's right there at your fingertips.
I mean, you don't have to do like us in TV when we would shoot something and 6 months later or a year it would air. Well, if they want to go over and do what we did, you got to figure the whole pattern's different. They might have 8 foot of water higher or lower or whatever,
That's right.
So now what you guys, it's real time, just about.
Yeah, man, it's there. It's up and it's and it's rolling. And there's interaction. There's interaction among people commenting on it and among people talking about it. So rather than a standard, you may get somebody that's a month later, that's, I was here, I tried that, it didn't work, whatever. Somebody's on there commenting. The beauty of social media, rather than the negatives of it, is that it helps all of us communicate when we're communicating, positively and helps guys fishing. And so, it's just to be a constant talking point, and just kind of the center, you know what I mean? The epicenter of where crappie fishermen can go to find their stuff, to find that information they need. What's better than traveling to a new lake and going somewhere new and the only thing better is talking about it before you actually leave, which we spend a ton of time doing. We get, talking to our buddies, what are we going to do, how are we going to do it. And so this is just like I said, your Encyclopedia Britannica, man. This is just your base. This is where you start right here. Here's all the places. Let's go from there. We just came back from Lake D'Arbonne, and it was awful. There was a ton of rain, and the water got way high, and the current was ridiculous, and the fish whipped me. But we stayed at a place. I lived on that lake for a year and a half. We stayed at Henry's Cabins. Henry's Cabins was lovely. I'd never been there before. They had a nice boat ramp. They were beautiful cabins. They had all the amenities, all the things you like. So what do? We turn around and we highlight that. You know what I mean? They put us up.
Folks, stay it was Lake D'Arbonne. You heard it here. See,
plug it up. Right. That's right.
We can do it right now.
That's it. That's all part of it. I mean, you know what though? I have no shame in it, because I tell you what, the people that help, that represent, that stand behind crappie fishermen, that stand behind this industry.
That's right.
That's who built us, man. That's who keeps us going. So I mean, it's just like you did for years. Here's my sponsors. Here are the people that pay for this show to be on the air, the show that people enjoy.
That's right.
So go out and buy stuff from those sponsors. Go out and buy stuff from the people that sponsor the tournament trails, that sponsor the little small tournaments, because it takes everybody to make it happen. So, I mean, crappie fishermen, we're loyal people, I feel like, in general. So we should absolutely be loyal to, the places that stick their neck out and, spend money with you and I advertising, not knowing 100% if they're going to get the return. They don't always know it's advertising, right?
That's right.
But they do it. They try.
Right now, and what we're doing is brought to these good people, Fripp and Folly T-shirts. Now, most of them out here, they never heard it. You didn't know who that was.
No.
Now they go online, they watch us right here, they watch us cutting up and going on and yakking everything, and then you see that Fripp up there, right there on that deal, right there above our heads, right there. They can see that.
That's right.
And they go in there and they look at them T-shirts and they think, you know what, them's pretty cool T-shirts, and you know they support the outdoors. They got some crappie patterns on there. They got some bass patterns,
right.
catfish or whatever, and this, that, and the other. Hey, why wouldn't I support that? Because them old boys, they were up there. I saw old Scott and Josh talking about crappie fishing. And just because they were talking about crappie fishing, I'm going to check these guys out. You know, and another thing,
right.
you know, of course, you know, my bread and butter right here, you know, I try to do all I can for the crappie fishing because we want them in our boats. Now, let's get on to something right here that you're really, one of the guys that you're sponsored by is B&M. You know,
that's right.
I mean,
right.
I saw on Facebook where they were going to be sharing this right here on their page, you know, and then if everybody keeps sharing stuff like this right here, I mean, I guarantee you there's a couple other guys out there that could probably do better than what me and you're doing right now. But you know what? They ain't, and we are.
No, they ain't. So, that's right.
You know, we doing it right now, though. So,
and I feel like they wouldn't sound as good.
Well, that's true. Well, they don't look as good either, you know. But
well, that's it. Well, when you're right, you're right.
Tell us a little bit what's in the world of B&M. What's new and cool and all that with B&M poles.
Man, B&M has, you know, B&M has been the standard. We've been around for absolute ever. We have a ton of. We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different spider rigging rods. I can't tell you how many jigging poles, from the ultralight to the Sam Heaton super sensitive, which is just the standard in.
Now there,
old Sam.
We can just get off on a tangent right now. We could talk.
That's my buddy, man.
About him. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no, you're fine. We just released a new power trolling rod, and this is the type of crappie fishing you don't even want to know anything about it. Like this is so.
Don't know.
So next level. All right, so this is 18-foot rods.
Holy.
That are strong, that are stiff, not soft ones. That are strong. So they're for pushing real shallow stuff. You know, we love to fish that spawn. Everybody loves to fish that spawn. Well, spawn, I agree. I do too. I love one poling, getting up there catching them shallow. But man, just right before those females get on there, if you just turn around and look away from where you catch those fish spawning, those big old females are out there in that shallow water, and they're running around hungry, and they're active, and they're eating, and it's just become a real popular way to fish through tournament fishing, kind of probably the tournament guys exposing people to it, but fishing with long poles, big old heads, big plastics for the most part, fishing real shallow in shallow water, and you have to get out away from your boat, and you need a good bit, you need some serious backbone in that rod, because you catch a big old sow way out there, at 16, 18 foot from the boat. You got to have something to get into her lip. You got to have something to get her up, and then you need a big net swinging too. But man, spinning rod, it's a stud. You need to get your feet underneath you before you go setting the hook on it. But
so what else about B&M? What else is happening in the world of B&M?
Oh man, our little spinning reels,
I'll
Pro Staff 100s.
I'll make it easy for you. What separates them from the pack? What separates them?
I think one of the main things that separates B&M is, for one, they have been there for a very long time. They've been making, the Buck's Best jig pole, Buck's Best graphite jig pole. Come on, that thing's been around forever. If you break a B&M, you can call B&M, and they will either give you or sell you, depending on how you broke it, because you might have just stomped on it and it broke, another end or another butt. They have way, way more options than any of the other pole companies, because they're crappie fishermen. That's what they do. And now they've just, in the last few years, gotten into catfishing.
That's him, ain't it?
What's that?
That's it, ain't it? You said buck.
Catfishing?
No.
The Buck's graphite jig pole, yeah.
There you go, man.
Yeah, man.
See?
That's it. That's the old Buck Simmons. He's out there kicking it right now. Oh, you pulling it up? You froze on me. Your face is froze on the screen. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, did you not
You're
see
looking.
me?
You're locked up. You're looking Bermuda. You look a little bit like a young Bill Murray right here where you're froze at.
Can you see me now?
Anybody ever told you that before? No.
Okay.
No, you're froze up right here.
All right. Well, hang on.
On mine. So you pulled out your Bucks though.
Yeah. Well, it's all good right now. Everything's good on the live, so you didn't have to see it. Everybody else saw it. So,
Okay. All right. So you pulled out your Bucks graphite jig pole.
I did.
Well, I mean, everybody ought to have one. I mean, that's a standard. But stand by our product, man. And you got the best tournament fishermen in the country. The majority of them. You know, you got Caps and Coleman and Blackland Van Cleve and oh Lord, Kyle Shane Hare, your buddy, my buddy. That's what you told me. You should have called Shane Hare when we couldn't get this load up in the beginning. He thought I was falling apart on him. I like old Kyle, man. He's good.
Well, now
Kyle is probably more.
You talk about tournaments
Yeah,
and everything. Now, you've spent your fair share on the tournament circuit, so what's it like on the life of a tournament angler in the crappie world?
Well, you know, probably much like it is with the bass world and anything else, you need to be able to take a whooping. I mean, you need to be able to emotionally, I don't know, I'd like to say you need to be able to cast your emotions to the side, but I cannot do that, and I figure most people can't either. You know, I love the competition. I grew up in the Boot Hill of Missouri, like you. We had a couple things to do. We had fishing, hunting, and we had sports. So just competitive anything. If there's a rock kicking contest outside my door, I'm going to go out there. I think I can kick the rock farther than you, or I'm going to try. So it's a lot of fun, but you know, it's like anything. I just came back from a tough one, so it's a bit of a jaded answer right now. It's like it's hard. It's a lot to take in, but no, normally it's a lot of fun, man. You learn so much because the guys are open. They talk about, everything that happened, but it's a difference primarily between going out and trying to catch fish and going out and trying to catch just big fish. That's the thing. We're going out and trying to catch 7 of the biggest fish on the lake as opposed to going out and fish numbers. We fished a one fish tournament. It was for a media day. And I had Mountain Man with me. Mountain Man from Duck Dynasty talks real slow. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to catch one big fish. And we went out to catch one big fish, and we were sitting in this deep hole, and we kept catching these little 10, 11-inch fish. And he was putting them in the box, and I said, we need to move and go somewhere else so we can catch a big one. He said, Daddy would like to fry these up if we could just keep catching these right here. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, we just sat right there and kept catching fish because he's a fisherman, and he's catching fish, and he wants to have a fish fry. So that was it. But that mentality to leave biting fish to go try to find bigger fish and to try to get into the mind of a bigger fish. And I love it. It's a blast, the camaraderie of all of it. The Crappie Masters Trail has been around forever. I love fishing the Crappie Masters Trail. The new one, the American Crappie Trail, where, they give away a boat at every tournament, where you go like a bass trail, you have your fish in mesh bags, you're putting them in tanks, and they're real heavy on the conservation part of it. Just an awesome trail. But yeah, if you showed up outside and think you can hit a wiffle ball further than me, I'm ready to go see you can hit a wiffle ball further. You just got to
have to do in these tournaments. Can just anybody show up and say, I'm going to fish in it, or do you have to qualify to be in a tournament?
No, for a regular tournament, anybody can fish in it. You just have to, put up your money and show up there the day of the seminar. And I would suggest you read up on some of the rules beforehand, because you'll see when you go to kind of an obscure place that hasn't had a tournament before, someone will inevitably be surprised that the fish have to stay alive because they've only ever thrown crappie on in an ice chest. But so, You have to keep your fish alive. You have set hours and things like that. But it's not. No, there's no. A person should never not fish it because they're worried about pressure or something like that. Because there's just not. There's only as much pressure in it as you put on yourself. For the most part. But I know a lot of people get nervous wanting to get up there in front of everybody and fish against the big boys. Big boys get beat just like everybody else.
So you're saying I could just show up in my G3, never been in a crappie tournament. I go up there, I get lucky, catch me 7 big fish, win a tournament. Next thing you know, I'm in for Angler of the Year, and then I could be as famous as Josh Gowan.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think you have to you're gonna have to put in a little more work, a little groundwork. Build the base up some. I just I don't know how many people know who you are. That's the thing is not people knowing who you are and being able to. No, man, you could do it.
But
you might win a one-day tournament.
That, though.
You can do it. You can do it. And if you're going to do it and you're going to show up and fish, I'd pick a one-day tournament because you have a much better chance on a one-day tournament than to get lucky and catch them big 7-1s 2 days in a row because that's a different animal. But
that's
shoot, man.
You can find a nut every now and then, but you just get on the right tree. Next thing you know, you may win that thing or at least get a little money out of it. And you know what happens?
I guarantee.
You know what happens if they win a little money in it?
Oh Lord. We ain't never gonna hear that. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You know what they say? If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, and if you teach a man to fish, the very first time he catches a mess without you, he'll tell everybody he's the one that taught you. And I feel like that's the truth.
Yeah.
It don't take long to get eat up with it. And then you can't help but lie.
You've done a lot of things in crappie, and we talked earlier about your destination crappie and the media and stuff that you're doing and everything, and now the tournament side. But hey, you've guided too, and still do guide. So as a guide, let's say it's the end of February, it's going to be 1st of March. What's some good tips that you can give all around? I mean, I know all lakes are different, and we've had floods everywhere or whatever, but what's some good tips you can give people on catching crappie?
Brother, I got something for you. Like I said, I just left down Louisiana, and I was on the water for 15 days or so down there, 12 days. But, right now, it's pre-spawn for a lot of the country. Now, I'm a crappie fisherman, so to me, like December 26th, pre-spawn starts. And then their spawn is like one day during the spring, and then after that it's post spawn. But right now fish are transitioning from deep water to shallow water in lakes that have channels. Over at Reelfoot Lake, they're burning them up out there trolling, pushing the stumps on the flats. But of course, there are no channels on Reelfoot Lake. But certainly down on Darbone and a lot of the lakes, the fish are transitioning. So down south, the spawn is coming. The males are already starting to move up. We caught some males shallow last week. But that's definitely the deal. Catch them in between. With all this rain, with all this mud, know that I preach this at seminars that we often fish below fish. More than anything else, crappie fishermen fish below crappie. I don't care how deep the water is.
Fish too deep.
You're fishing underneath them.
Okay.
You're fishing underneath them. You're looking at fish on the depth finder, and while they're still the active fish are up high. It might be right underneath the water column in 2 or 3 foot. And that's what happened this past weekend. You get all that water, you get all that mud. Crappie are they're about light penetration, getting down, so they get up high in the water column. And just because you see some fish down low, that does not mean that there aren't more fish up high that won't eat, because the depth finder will not pick up a fish at 6 inches deep in the water. That old transducer is not going to get over the top of him. It just ain't going to happen. So that's what I would suggest right now. Be looking for fish moving in those secondary channels, moving up on the flats and getting ready to get up shallow. For my folks down south, they're kind of in the middle here, and the guys up north, y'all probably still digging them out of the deep ledges. Still cold up there, and I don't know what the ice fishermen are doing way up north, but they're probably cold and catching fish.
That's.
I never seen the G3 ice fishing show.
No, and you ain't.
Really?
So, as far as I'm concerned, ice is what you put in sweet tea. And I ain't dang sure ain't gonna drive out on no ice. Let me tell you something. I'm out there on that ice, and that first crack, I'll be like the road runner now. Beep beep. And I mean, I am gone. I ain't doing that. I ain't. Them boys out there, they're far tougher than me. No way. Mm-mm.
I went one time with a big old boy from Wisconsin. He's walking in front of me. He's a big old boy, so I know I'm good, right? And I kept thinking that I dropped my knife. I carry a big knife in my pocket. It sounded just like my knife hit the ice, and I turned to look, nothing there. And the third time, I figured out that wasn't my knife hitting the ice. The ice cracking. But we sat out there and we caught some.
How spooky is that?
It was pretty scary. I just kept looking at this 300-pound boy in front of me, thinking, all right, if he's good, I've got to be good, right?
Yeah, I ain't doing it. You know, they go out there, they drive their pickups out there, they got their ice shanties, and then they're drilling holes in it. They're just going around with augers, just digging holes, water splashing up. I'm like, dude, you're just going to try to make a crack. No way. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. If I can't float on
You see them sturgeon fishing? Now they're sturgeon fishing. They take a saw and they cut a big rectangle out and they slide their tool shed over the top of it. I guess it's the same schematics as a tool shed. That's what it looks like. But anyway.
No way. I ain't about to do it. So you're saying right now that these crappie are staging. I guess they're just chasing bait, correct? And the bait are
chasing bait. That's right.
The mouths of the coves and over the flats.
Yeah.
Well, they're not on the flats yet. You said they'll be moving out on the flats later.
They should, depending on where you're at now. I mean, you get on down. You know, some of our folks down in Florida. You know, they're already catching real shallow fish. Down in South Louisiana, they already got males on trees making that bed. You know, they ain't thinking about shad. They're up there thinking about making it big and getting big mama to come in there. But yeah, as you move up, for sure, yeah, they're chasing bait right here where we're at. You know, across the Mason-Dixon line, for sure, they're still chasing bait. They're not ready yet. It's been too cold, but down in Louisiana, they were getting ready. It wasn't going to be too long, and there was going to be some real shallow fish calling them cypress trees.
Now, what about Minnows versus artificial?
Man, it's hard for a crappie to resist a minnow. Mm-hmm. So when you got money on the line, and when you're putting, when you're out there tournament fishing, or if you tournament fish enough, you just get that mentality that what if that fish is there, and I done drove to the lake and I put gas in and I'm out here and I got my poles out and I got my new suit on and everything, but I'm just fishing with this jig, and if I had a minnow, I would be catching a fish right now. So it's hard for me not to minnow fish when I'm multi-pole fishing. Now, one poling, very, very seldom would I ever tip with a minnow, but it's just that live bait. A lot of times, and I don't want the plastics people to hear me say this, but a lot of times, a lot of water we fish, crappie can't see a different color, 6-8 inches, if he's down there, they feel it. I mean, they got the lateral line. That's how they know something's there, is that it's moving. So, I mean, if they're on a tree, don't get me wrong, you're dropping that jig right there in front of them and agitating them, but man, something that's moving as opposed to something that's sitting still. And I can't even hold a jig still for very long. I mean, I drop the jig down there, I'm still shaking the fire out of it, and I put on a Rockport rattler to make little rattles and make noise on it, and use big old body plastics. Now that's for white crappie. Now, if I'm fishing for black crappie, totally different animal. Then I'm going little small feather jigs, little old 32nd ounce grizzly jigs. A little orange head and a black and Kelly green is one of my favorite. I'll call so many specks on Reelfoot Lake with that thing, and also darbone on cypress trees.
You're calling black crappie.
Yeah, black crappie speck. Yeah, they feed different. They have smaller mouths. They eat more invertebrates. They eat more bugs, eat more crawfish, eat more real small minnows. Where white crappie, big old mouth, they'll sit out there and suspend in deeper water, and they'll eat bigger shad. Now, don't get me wrong, there are always admissions to that. If you go down in Florida where there's nothing but black crappie, some of those, they act different. But in general, lakes like Reelfoot, Darbone, a lot of the lakes through the Midwest where you have both species, you're going to find black crappie in clearer water, around more vegetation, shallower through most of the year.
Well, Billy Blakely,
eating small.
you talking about Reelfoot, Billy Blakely. Billy Blakely, he told me, he said, the black crappie like to jump.
They like what?
They like to jump. They like to be
They
in
like
the
to
jump.
Oh,
They
yeah,
like-
that's right. That's right. That
That's
sounds
what
like
he
a Billy quote right there.
That's a Billy Blakely quote. He said, old black crappie now, they like being in the jump.
And he's not lying. They want to be in that thick vegetation all the time.
That's
I love
right.
talking to Billy. He makes me sound like a New Yorker.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you something. And I'm giving this away, and I don't know why, because this is a goal of mine. I told him here a while back, I said, we're missing out on a lot of money right now, because I could follow you around in a reality show and just, Billy's life or Billy's world or whatever, and just listen to him on his daily routine. And that's the funniest thing you'll ever see. This guy is hilarious. He's funny and he ain't even got to say nothing.
No, that's right. He can look at you and it'd be funny.
Oh,
And I tell you, it'd be a great reality show, because I know the rest of the clan of folks that live over there at Reelfoot Lake, his cousin and Van Cleve and if you could just get them all on there, I mean, you'd have yourself a show. You'd have yourself it'd be a no nonsense show, that's for sure. You just.
Oh my gosh, it almost have to be on like HBO or something.
That's right. Yeah, because if you edit it as much as you'd have to edit it for prime time, you'd lose. That's right. You lose a lot of really good content. You know what I mean? Because those words they beep out, and you got to take those in context. They have different meanings. He might have been saying some real. You know what I mean? There's some really deep stuff about fishing that you're going to want to remember. And just because it had 7 expletives in a row, that doesn't mean that it didn't have a solid meaning,
Oh, yeah. I know. I know. I grew up over there. I know. So, all right. Now, here we are. We've been yakking for a pretty good while, and I hope some people have been entertained at least, and I hope maybe they've learned a little bit of something. What else you want us to know about in the world of Josh Gowan and in the world of crappie? I mean, you've always got plenty to say, and this is your platform. This is your time to shine. You got millions upon millions of people right this minute watching you. So
good night.
This is your time right here. Don't freeze up on me.
That's a lot. That's a lot of pressure.
Give us some gold right now.
That's the most pressure I've ever had put on me at once. I tell you what, guys and ladies and gals, y'all go out there, and no matter what, you fish hard, because you never know, tomorrow you may not be able to go fishing. You may have to go to work. You may have to do something. Scott's just shaking his head. I don't even know. Look, man, that was a lot of pressure. I feel like I was trying to come out with like a Joe Dirt quote. You know what I mean? Life's a garden.
I laid this
Life's a garden. Dig it.
I had it to where the millions upon millions of crappie fishermen and fishermen everywhere were just waiting for this. And you want to do like a show? I mean,
yeah, I know. I figured there'd be more editing. That's the thing with live TV. There's no editing in this. You don't get a second try.
Nope.
Maybe I should have went with the Life's a Garden. What are you gonna do? It was pretty tough, man. I tell you what. I want to thank all of the people, the fishermen, man, that watch and that support us, and me and you and everybody else that's out there. The companies, the guys, man, I spent some time on the phone today with a guy from Texas who's got a new product out, and I don't even know what it's called exactly, but it's beautiful, man. The people are constantly trying to come up with new stuff, and trying to grow the industry and have ideas and try to see it to fruition. And fishermen, of course, we have never seen a new product we didn't want to try, so we're gonna jump right on it and give it a go. And man, it's
let me try to bail you out just a little bit here.
Do me a favor, would you? Throw me in line.
Crappie fishermen really are some of the best people out there. Those guys. I'm not saying that other fishermen aren't. I mean, the cat fishermen are good old boys too. You know,
Sure.
but we're on the subject of crappie, so that's what we're talking about. You know, yeah, they'll lie to you a little bit on their spot, as just will anybody, but they'll
Absolutely.
find you a spot. You know, if they say that bass is the most popular sport fish, well, I've got a rebuttal for that. Because if you say on any given lake that the bass are absolutely jumping in the boat, biting on anything you could put out there, hitting on bare hooks, you'll see 6 bass boat trailers at the boat ramp. But if you say there's a possibility that the crappie could any day maybe start biting, you can't find a parking spot. So that tells you right there, that is America's fish right there when it comes to that. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of money invested in this. There's affordable products out there. We were talking about Minnows. Old Jeff Falkenberry said, Minnows always win. You can get you a bucket of Minnows in a little old styrofoam bucket. You can get you a B&M pole. You can get you, like I used to fish when I was a kid, get you a cane pole. You can get out there, you can find these fish. If you just catch a few, you got a tasty meal. You can feed your family. They're just good people. It's a good sport. You know, there's not a lot of glitz and glamour in it, and I don't think they want it that way. But people like Josh and the other good people in this that are trying to not only popularize more people or get more people into crappie fishermen, but they're out there just spreading the word. And that's we should take our hats off and thank people like Josh. He came on here, spur of the moment. I was supposed to have a real guest on here. I was supposed to have Eli Bates with Lawrence, and he ended up getting the flu. So, I mean, I'm sorry that this is what we ended up with, but I think he did a pretty good job doing it, on spur of the moment. I'm not real sure what he's in here. It looks like you're in I'm not real sure what this dungeon is that you're in back here. I thought I saw.
I'm
somebody,
in the
I thought I saw
I'm in the
somebody like
southern
chained to a wall or something over there. So
No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, no, we'll let them go. I'm in the Southern Yankee Bar and Grill here in my basement. That's I had to get away from all the animals and the kids. This is the Southern Yankee Bar and Grill. You're looking out the back side of it. I didn't aim you up at the business side of the bar and grill. So, you know, just to be as PC as possible. But yeah, we're right here, brother. We're home. It's kind of like living next door to the Johnny Carson show, you know, and having a boot heel buddy here in Scott Turner. So somebody gets sick, they call the guy that lives right next door to hey man, we need you to come over here real quick. We need a guest. So sure, always
right.
available to talk
so the
about
next
this.
time somebody, you know, when we have a real guest, maybe cancel on us or whatever, we may have Josh again. You know, it's going to be like you said in the old Johnny Carson show or Jay Leno or whatever. When he's out, then the same guy always fills in. You know, and so we might.
That's right. That's right.
You may be my permanent fill-in host.
That's perfect. Hey, and look, and I'll take it a step farther. I just like to, I'm not going to look directly at Scott. I'm going to look to the side, the folks at Fripp and Folly. If he gets sick and you need somebody to guest host, I'm right here. Just give me a holler. I'm barely ever doing anything on a Monday night. I can totally guest host this for you.
Yeah, well, there may be a lot of people that wishing they were doing something else right now after they were watching us. So I mean, but this
This is a normal conversation.